Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for December 5, 2022, the Crazy Like a Fox edition. And we begin with that story, of course, about Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, coming to us from the Wall Street Journal, which says that he has thrown out the crisis communications playbook with his continued PR campaign. And the question I would pose to you is, who is he talking to? Is he talking to potential jury members of a criminal trial? Is he talking to regulators? Is he talking to all the people he defrauded? Is he talking to all of the people who believed in him? It's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. Next up from Reuters, Nigeria is still trying to get out of their $11 billion arbitration loss against a company called Process Industrial Development Limited, who had a contract awarded for a gas processing plant. Nigeria alleges that the contract was granted by a prior administration based upon bribery and corruption. They tried that defense in an arbitration trial and lost, and now they're in court in London. So is obtaining a contract by bribery and corruption a defense to a breach of contract claim? Well, we'll find out. Next up, in the continued saga of Hans Niemann and the world of chess, the teenager has sued Magnus Carlsen, who claimed that he cheated against him. And now the New York Times with a lengthy story about this matter. Of course, chess world is a tither about this, and the potential allegations of cheating are damning for the international chess organizations, but it's unclear why or how Mr. Niemann may have been able to pull this off and shoot to the ranks of grandmasters. And finally, in what can only be claimed as a huge hubris motion, disgraced former head of Archegos Capital, Bill Hwang, has filed a lawsuit, or rather a motion, in his criminal case seeking dismissal of the fraud indictment over the collapse of his once $36 billion empire, claiming that prosecutorial misconduct should require dismissal. The prosecutorial conduct at heart is that he alleges the DOJ communicated with him and actually brought him in for interviews while knowing he was the target of investigation, not simply a subject. And he says that's not playing by the rules fair. Interestingly, this motion was filed Friday night after hours, no doubt to keep the DOJ from filing something immediately and attacking it in public. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.